We have a sign-up sheet on the table up front for anybody who wants to speak to a bill. If they have to sign up their name and which bill they want to speak to and who they're with. Hayes. Good morning. We a little bit past time we should have started, but I'd like to thank everybody for getting up this morning and showing up. We have a quorum. I'm gonna ask Representative Mathis if he'll open in prayer with us. Y'all bow with us.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this beautiful, cool day. We just thank you for the many people here. I ask you to watch over them, watch over their families. Father, help us to make good decisions on what we do here in this meeting today. For it's in your Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. And we did have a sign-up sheet up front. I don't know if it's still there, but if somebody wants to speak to a measure, just let us know when we get there if they hadn't signed the sheet. We're going to start with House Bill 461. Representative Thomas, we've seen this bill last year. I think there's been some changes, and I think Chairman Powell might want to join you as well.
Chairman Powell. Thank you, Chairman and Committee. Originally, I presented LC number 394432. That was a previous bill. I've worked with my friend Chairman Powell over here and added a little bit of language. So we are now working off of LC 4951S. So I'm just make sure everybody's got the same.
Did you say 49 or 39?
I'm sorry, 39. Right, a little early. I haven't had my coffee hasn't kicked in yet. So with that being said, my portion of the bill is exactly as it passed this last year. Went to rules, obviously was recommitted, but I will let my good friend Chairman Powell explain the addition that he put into the bill. I think strengthens the bill. I'm supportive of it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and ladies and gentlemen of the committee. And I want to thank Chairman Thomas for allowing me to piggyback onto this. You know, the original bill that we passed several times out of here, that was his portion of the bill that allows motorcycles when they pull up to red light or something like that, and they're not heavy enough to weigh down on those things in the road, it changes the traffic laws, allows them to make a turn on them. I'm getting this sign from Jason. That scares me. But at the request of a lot of the motorcyclists and the motorcycle groups, one of the other things that they do, and this is in practicalities, motorcycles, and I always tell people they're the most dangerous vehicles on the roadways because of the size and all of that, and other vehicles don't look at these people. They don't get them focused. And one of the things that they had asked me about doing, which is a common practice, that is when a motorcyclist is on a roadway and they're pulling up behind someone or to come back, they see the traffic coming. And a lot of times these people don't see them, so this would allow them to pull up parallel. They've got to be running 15 miles per hour or less, but they can pull up parallel to a vehicle next to them, so that just in case if they came to a stop directly behind another vehicle, they're liable to get rear end. So this would allow them to move into the lane with that parallel to that other vehicle and hopefully be out in safety's way at that point. And that's what the amendment does, or the substitute added to Chairman Thomas's bill.
Would it allow them also to pull up around and go like you get into a turn lane? If
Exactly.
reading this right as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, number 27.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Chairman, for working on the bill. This actually goes back, I think, to the original section here on line 45 is where we'll get started. So I always think about this bill through the lens of trying to teach a child what to expect, right? So I don't think about it from the driver's perspective. I think about it from other motorists' perspective, and you've worked a lot on this bill, I can tell. This is a way better sub than we had last year. But where it says 500 feet, I'm just wondering if, and I think the issue is you're on a road, there's nobody there, right? There's no other cars coming. I think that's kind of the inclination I've always understood about this bill. Maybe that's wrong, but there's no other vehicle within eyesight. Is there a way that you say within visible, there is no other motor vehicle within visible sight approaching or entering the same? Is that something that has been contemplated, or
To answer your question, I believe the reason why we went with 500 feet is because it's prescriptive. You know, line of sight. Well, what if I'm not wearing my glasses that day? You know, what does that mean? I think it's open to interpretation where 500 feet is a a clear number, and I think that's why we went with 500 feet.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to think of if I'm a student driver, I'm proceeding down the roadway, and I don't know how long a motorcycle has been there. Have they, in previous versions of the bill, and I'm not sure in this one, in previous versions they had to wait so many cycle changes.
It's in this one as well.
It's in this one as well.
You look on line 58 through 61.
Well, that's okay. That helps me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So,
I guess my question is, I don't know, I cannot approximate as the other driver how many light cycles this person has taken. And then if it's taken if they've waited the 3 light cycles, and now as a young driver, I'm having to approximate whether or not this person is going to turn left on me within 500 feet. It just creates training inconsistencies. And that's the hardest part I've had about the bill, I think, since day one, is it's just tough. So talk to me a little bit about that. Tell me as someone who trains young children, how we can help them approximate their interaction in a roadway with these folks.
I know if it was me and I was teaching my kid, the first thing I would say is you always approach any intersection assuming somebody's going to pull in front of you. You need to enter an intersection watching the intersection. So I think that's just kind of a general belief. Secondly, what you're talking about here is someone who's training someone on the other side that's coming at an intersection with a motorcycle turning into it. That the onus isn't on the student, onus is on the driver of the motorcycle to make sure they can't see for more than 500 feet a car to be able to make the turn. So after 2 light cycle changes, and I'd be more than happy. We've got some that have testified a couple times, but if you'd like to come on up, you're more than welcome to.
We've got a couple more questions. Let's hold the number 24.
Thank you. Explain where everybody understands what a light cycle is, because I've had some people ask me, so well, if it's a light cycle, that means it's changed from green back to red. And
yes, that's correct.
But that's not, the problem is the motorcycle don't weigh enough so the light it's not changing.
Yeah.
So when you say light cycle, explain what that means, where everybody kind of on the same understanding.
Like I said, I think it'd be good to have somebody who's a motorcyclist come up here and
Bring them over. Come
That's
to the podium over here. And tell us your name. And
thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. Wayne Nunez. I represent the Gina McLeod Foundation. It's a motorcycle safety organization. And I guess, which questions do you want me to address first? The light cycle?
that'd be good.
Okay. The way you determine light cycle is, like you said, it goes from red to green, back to red, back to green. If the turn light or if the bike, because the way the design is, it's a magnetic field, and the bike doesn't have enough metal to break that magnetic field in order to trigger the lights. That's why they don't work. You know, you can judge by, I'm sure someone coming at you won't be able to tell whether you've been sitting there for 2 light cycles or not, but that's the way the bill addresses it, is through 2 light cycles. That way you know you've cleared that this light is not functioning.
And how many other states do this?
Right now there's 7 states that are, 9 states now.
Okay, thank
that
you.
are doing it.
Sorry, number 27.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This may be for Chairman Powell. I was reading the bill when he was presenting on lines 94. I guess it restarts on 92. Can you walk me through that again? Is that yours, Chairman Powell? Is that your amendment?
That is the part that I had added to it on behalf of the motorcycle safety.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I don't know how much more I can say than I said previously. If a motorcycle is pulling into a roadway. Most of the times, the most hazardous time is when people run into the back of a motorcycle. So when they're pulling and they're less and they're running at 15 mile an hour or less, then they can pull parallel to the vehicle in front of them. Or if they're trying to get to a turn lane, so they can pull in parallel so that just as a preventative for somebody running into the back of them, then they can be parallel to the other vehicle.
So I just want to, what you're saying again, and I'm reading this here, the operator of a motorcycle shall be authorized to overtake and pass in the same lane by the vehicle being overtaken when the motorcycle is being driven to overtake and pass stationary vehicles or gain access to an adjacent turning lane. We're not talking about lane
15 miles
splitting.
an hour or less.
Okay, but so we're not talking about lane splitting here, right?
No, sir.
Lane splitting?
Yeah, where somebody can travel through the middle of two vehicles, let's say even on a highway, that's not permitted here. I think that this man shaking his head no. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That was my question.
Would you say it's no different? I travel I-75 every week coming up from Valdosta, and there'll be traffic stopped all the time. And I watch my rear view mirror more than I do my in front of me where I'm stopping.
Exactly.
A lot of times, more than once, I've had to pull over because out of the way of a car coming behind me too fast. So that's what you're talking about here.
And it's dangerous enough if you get rear-ended if you're in a car. But if you're on a motorcycle, it could be devastating.
Yeah. I just want to, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure lane splitting can be incredibly dangerous and requires a lot of information. If that's the policy objective of this committee and this General Assembly, if we want to allow for lane splitting, it requires a big investment of public information because that could be incredibly dangerous. I understand it's not to be lane splitting, so that ends my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any more questions for the author? We're at number 19.
No, Mr. Chairman, I would just say at the proper time.
Now would be that time.
Do pass.
Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. You have your bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
All right, the next bill on the agenda, House Bill 1380. Is Representative Miles? Is he? Has anybody seen Representative Miles? All right, we're going to House Bill 1391, Representative Fleming. You want to text him?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee. Here to present House Bill 1391, working off LC 394888. Pretty simple bill. This is a specialty license plate for Georgia's public safety officers. We can hold it up. The proceeds for this would go to the Georgia Public Safety Foundation, which supports officers of the Georgia State Patrol and their families and fallen officers and officers injured in the line of duty. In your packets, you'll see we have received the approval from the Department of Revenue. All the paperwork has been submitted. And Mr. Chairman, if you're good with it, I'd love to introduce former Colonel of the Georgia State Patrol, Mr. Chris Wright, to tell you a little bit about the foundation. He serves as chairman of the Georgia Public Safety Foundation.
That would be great. And I also like to tell everybody, got in their packet, it shows all the prerequisite stuff that DOR requires on this tag. So it's got the rendition of the tag, all the information there if anybody's interested. But anyway, yes, sir, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank y'all for your time this morning, and certainly appreciate y'all taking a look at this bill for us. So the Georgia Public Safety Foundation was originally created back in 1987. It was originally created as the Georgia State Patrol Historical Society, and the purpose was to promote and preserve the history of the State Patrol. When I became commissioner, and now Colonel Hitchens, he was the deputy commissioner, we used that vehicle as a way for us to be able to help and support the men and women of the agency during times of need. Meaning if they were seriously injured in the line of duty, or God forbid we had someone killed, which we did. We had 2 troopers back in 2024 that were killed in the line of duty. But we started looking at a way that we could help the families and help support them. As y'all know, when many times when one of our officers, whether it be a trooper or motor carrier officer, Capitol Police, when they are seriously injured, they bring them to Grady Hospital in Atlanta, and sometimes that takes away from the family being home and having to come and spend time with them during their recovery and hospitalization time. And so that creates a cost for the family, hotel expenses, meal expenses. And so we wanted to be able to take that burden off of the family and be able to support them. And so that was one of the things that we started really looking at and how we could start helping them more. And so we looked at the ability to change the Historical Society into a foundation. And so in 2024, we did that. We moved the Historical Society into a foundation to where we could raise money and help support those families. And so there's basically three things that we focus on from the foundation perspective. Number one is each year the department puts on an annual awards banquet. And as y'all know, we are unable to use state funds to put on an awards banquet of that type. And so this is one night of the year that we get to honor all the employees of the Department of Public Safety, them and their spouses and their families, and recognize the tremendous work that they do across the state. And so we use funds to help fund that awards banquet for them every year. During that awards banquet, we also give scholarships to the children and grandchildren of employees and retired employees. And to date, since 2018, we have given over $160,000 in scholarships to kids. And they go through an application process. We don't just hand them out to them. They have to submit an application, and we have a committee that selects those award recipients. So that's two things. And then, of course, the third thing is being able to help our families when someone is seriously injured or, God forbid, somebody loses their house to a house fire. We just want to be able to be in a position to help fund them in those type of situations. We have no paid employees. All 15 people who sit on the chair, it's all volunteer work. My position as chairman, it's all volunteer work. So no funds that we generate pays any salaries or anything like that. It's 100%. It goes to help the employees of the Department of Public Safety, to help them in times of crisis, to help fund that awards banquet, so we make sure that our employees are recognized for the hard work and for the scholarships each year. And that's the only three things. And this tag will give us the ability to not just promote our agency, but it promotes the foundation, and it helps us have somewhat of a generation of funds to help meet those goals every year. And as the foundation grows, hopefully we can help other families in the public safety spectrum.
All right, well, I'd like to thank the author for bringing this bill. I think it's a great cause that you're supporting with this. So we do have a couple questions. Number 19, Representative McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the bill, too. I guess when I get to public safety, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that's all public safety in the 159 counties and 531 cities. I'm just trying to.
So this bill is only for the Georgia Public Safety Foundation. So it just supports Georgia State Patrol, Motor Carrier Division, and Capitol Police, so our state officers. There is another tag that is back to blue, and where do those funds go, Colonel, for that tag?
Those funds go to the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund, and which is it's a partner, obviously, and this is not trying to take away from anything, because I'm a member of the POAB. Most police officers are members of the POAB, but that helps that fund. So this is nothing similar to that cause, no, sir.
But we do have public safety and
That's right.
PSLs all over the state.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
number 16, Representative Douglas.
At the appropriate time.
Not seeing any further questions, now would be the time.
Do pass.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
Thank you all, committee.
Bill.
Thank you all for your time.
All right, we will back up. Is Representative Miles, is he? All right, well, we will go on to our friends from across the hall, SB 160, Senator Kilpatrick, if you'll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got LC 560551S. Is that what you have?
That's what we have.
And thank you for working with me on this bill. You guys have seen this bill before, but it's a lot different now. A couple of years ago, we passed Senate Bill 10, Senator Emanuel Jones, on reckless stunt driving. Since that time, this behavior has continued to be a problem around the state. Events where people are laying drag and doing donuts are spread on social media, creating a risk to the public. Recent incidents have involved Atlanta, Brookhaven, DeKalb County, Lithia Springs, and other locations, including my own Cobb County. And law enforcement is frequently dealing with multi-jurisdictional issues. People continue to be injured and killed in these incidents. Last year, this bill introducing ISA devices was in this committee, but did not receive a vote, so the language was put on another bill and was passed. However, that bill was vetoed. I've been working with the governor's office ever since to accommodate their recommendations on this bill for implementation. And you have a handout that shows a picture of what one of these devices looks like. This bill is really about behavior change. ISAs are intelligent speed devices that prevent an operating from exceeding a preset speed. This bill creates a pathway for a person with a suspended license due to a reckless stunt driving conviction to apply for a limited driving permit by having an ISA placed on their vehicle. The license suspension formula is current law, and we didn't change anything there. The other portion of the bill matches the ignition interlock law and puts Department of Driver Services in charge of rules and regulations per NHTSA standards, and it puts them in charge of certifying the devices also. The devices can use GPS technology to govern the speed based on the limit in the area. I've worked with DDS and have accommodated their request to match the fees to the ignition interlock fees and to push back the effective date to give them enough time to get the rules in place and develop a plan for implementation, and I greatly appreciate their help. Also, the Atlanta Police Department has been involved with this bill, and they're in support as well. So just to briefly walk through the sections, Mr. Chair, if you'd like for me to do that.
Absolutely.
Section 1 is just definitions of an ISA and also of a provider center, which is the same type of thing that we have for ignition interlock. Section 2 outlines the option of a limited driving permit for someone whose license has been suspended for reckless stunt driving. Otherwise, the license is still suspended. Section 3 outlines who's eligible and not eligible for an ISA, sets the fees and the conditions for revocation of the device. And Section 4 adds ISAs to the definition of electronic monitoring. Section 5 relates to probation and also adds a framework for certification of the devices. Section 6 adds ISAs to the ignition interlock part of the code, and that's basically the rest of the bill. Section 7 sets the effective date as July 1st, 2028, and that's because this is new technology and the department needs to figure out how they're going to implement it. 15 states have legislation pending on these devices, even though they've been around for decades. 2 states have passed and implemented this, Virginia and Washington State. And the NHTSA standards are not out yet, but the AAMV administrators, I've forgotten exactly what that stands for, but their standards are coming out this spring. And there's no impact on impoundment. Usually that happens when the driver is arrested and there's no other qualified driver available to remove the vehicle. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And again, this is optional upon the person that has their license suspended. They do not have to do this if they don't want to. They can wait till the suspension is over and get their license reinstated. But this allows them to get a permit to drive with one of these devices. And then I guess I know last year a lot of the questions were on the cost of the device. I know it's $32 for the application, but how much does the device cost? And I know there's in here where somebody can't afford it, and there's a provision in the bill where there's funds to do that.
There is a provision in the bill that the local municipalities can deal with people who are indigent.
And it can do that. Now, if I've read that right, yes.
Yeah, I can find
But
it.
yeah, I don't need to. I'm just
Okay.
making a statement. But anyway, we do have a couple questions. Number 24, I think it was first, Representative Ridley.
Can you touch just a little bit? You said you discussed with DDS the fees and how to match those. Can you kind of tell me what that's right about?
Yeah, we had originally set the fee for $25, but to make it match Ignition Interlock, we changed it to $32.
So would that cover their DDS's cost for doing?
Right, exactly. But obviously, the cost for the device is separate.
Right, and that can be purchased by the actual purchase. You say the cost for the device, you're talking about like if a locality purchases these devices, chooses to use them or something.
Exactly.
Right, okay. All right, I think that's it.
Number 27, Representative Montana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, Senator, for bringing the bill. I have a couple of quick questions. That is, I think in last year's committee, we have brought up the history of this reckless stunt driving activity, and that is it not true, and maybe I'm wrong, you have to inform me, that prior to this bill, I think, and I'm not sure if it was on the first offense or maybe a second or subsequent, that they would crush the cars, right, that were being used in this reckless stunt driving. That was something we did, I think, circa 18 or 19.
Well, we created the crime in that previous bill.
And that penalty, though, for that crime was to crush the vehicle. Was that right? Is that a third offense?
I don't think that's accurate, but Ledge Council can probably tell you.
It's contraband on second. So I guess my question, this is only for first offense, or are we replacing that statute?
No, it again tracks normal procedures for license suspension. So the first conviction is a year suspension. After that, it goes progressively up, and after I think the third conviction, they're not eligible for this program anymore. But we know that there are people driving with suspended licenses all over the place, and this is a safer option so that people can apply for this limited permit so that they can go to work or wherever they need to go.
Thank you. I just want to understand the operation for these folks who are doing this. You know, it's pretty dangerous, and they do it on I-20 a lot, and that's the way my folks come into town. So we need to put a stop to it. I just wonder if maybe we can understand the operation. So on a first conviction, a person would have their license suspended for a year, and at some point during that suspension, 6 months or a year, they would be eligible under this new code section for a intelligent speed device, assistance device.
Yes, that is in section 2, line 39, starting at line 39.
Okay, so they're eligible the first go-round, and then maybe legislative council can help me. On a second or subsequent, it would then become contraband, and it could crush the car or go to,
So on the first and second in this bill is dealing with your license suspension. So your ability to drive any vehicle is being impacted by this bill. Current law, it impacts the vehicle that you were using the second time you did it. The second time you did it, if it's your mom's car, they can take your mom's car at that point in the contraband.
And
It
we're-
has nothing to do with your license, your ability to drive other cars. That punishment has to do with the actual vehicle itself versus her punishments will be the license and your ability to drive any vehicle.
And we're not changing that. I just want to make sure we're not changing the statute on the contraband of the vehicle. Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I do not see any further questions. What would be the will of the committee?
Motion to pass.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign.
Thank you,
Have your
Mr.
bill.
Chair.
All right. And that's the last bill on the agenda today, so if nothing else, this meeting is adjourned. Yeah.